Hi everyone, welcome to Season 2 of Death Defined with Matt Quoker. As a funeral director and dealing with death every day, I think it's really important that we open up the topics surrounding death and dying. So this is the forum where we get to meet everyday people and learn about their lives and their experiences surrounding the taboo subject of death. So let's go inside before I get too wet and start the day. Hi Sheila and Charlie, thank you for joining me today. You're Australians with Filipino backgrounds, that's correct?
Yes.
So could you tell me if you've noticed any differences between how death and dying is treated here to how it is in the Philippines or in your culture?
I think death is something that is talked about, and it's to a certain extent it's a point where you gather, and you.
So you talk about it openly in your community.
We try to, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's usually in the context of it'll start with someone dying within the community, and the ripple effect out to the rest of the members of the community. What you realise is that funerals aren't necessarily for the person that's passed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more to get people who have to carry on, to process and to deal and to,
And to give their respects.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely
very
part of the-
respectful.
Yeah.
It's all part of the grieving process.
Yeah.
It's all part of the grieving
And
process.
there's like like viewings.
Yes, we're big on the viewings.
Yeah.
So the viewing is something that for our non-Filipino family is something they've got to get used to. But the viewing can be days and
Yes.
nights, and where the body, the deceased person, is actually on display, and people come pay respects. There's usually a food and a catering element and a hospitality element
huge.
attached to it. What tends to limit the capacity of that sort of stuff happening in Australia is the constraints on the fact that we can't necessarily have a body in home 24 hours straight for 7 days of a week, which is something that can happen in the Philippines.
So when your grandmother passed, did was that your first experience of death, and that's what brought up
It
the
was
conversation?
for our generation and in our family. She was the first of actually the first of our relatives here in Australia to pass away.
Wow.
So it was a pretty big deal. We had family all over Australia. Of course, everyone came to spend time with us, but her passing was quite sudden. She actually had a heart attack during a church service.
Wow.
She passed away in the church itself.
What a blessing.
And-
In
and-
my
Yeah,
opinion, it's
absolutely,
yeah.
she
I
passed
think
away
so too.
somewhere she loved.
If she could have had it scripted, that's
How
she
she would have
have.
gone. In the case of what happened with Charlie's grandmother, that sort of created a conversation across not only our family but the community itself that we were
Right.
part of, and it led to a lot of us actually, doing things like buying plots together and taking out a whole hill in Pine Grove.
Oh, Pine Grove's
know,
a big cemetery for the
But the thing is that it started that
Yes.
in the mid-90s,
Wow.
where we
We can
basically
actually show
know
you-
we can show you where we're going to be buried.
Yeah, we can show you the corner of
amazing
Pine
is
Grove,
that?
which is where the chapel is.
Oh, that chapel's at the back. Yeah.
Or if you go there,
Yeah.
we know almost 90% of the families.
Wow.
If there's a name on the ground, we know.
But see, back
who
in
that
the
person
90s,
is.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
you could go in and buy, the more plots you bought, the better price you got.
Yes, we did,
That's how
and
it
that's
was,
exactly
yeah.
what happened.
Whereas now that's a thing of the past.
The
Yeah, it's like
community
an
was-
Aldi discount.
It's like an Audi
Come,
discount.
come and buy your plot.
That's now
and
a
we'll
thing of
get-
the past,
Get,
yeah.
get a plot for free.
Yeah.
There was also, I think they were doing discounts on the headstones
Yeah.
with different
And
design.
in regards to Filipino culture, there's a lot of superstition and things about death. And is one of them that you can't take a photo of the deceased after they've passed away? Or
No, that's actually an Aboriginal thing.
is it? Oh,
That's
Yeah.
that's
With
part of the
With
Aboriginal.
Filipinos, photos are, you do. They viewing and photos and things like that. But probably the thing that comes to mind is I went back to the Philippines to bury my grandfather.
Yeah.
And we were all dressed in white because we don't do black in our family. But as we were actually taking the casket away and closed it up, a lot of my little young cousins were actually being thrown over the coffin.
Really?
So we would have one person standing, and an elder on one side, another elder on the other, and they were basically moving the child back and forth over the
Wow.
coffin. And I was actually quite shocked by that, and I actually asked my mum, "What's going on? Like,
Yeah.
I don't get why this is happening."
Wow.
And they basically said it's to prevent the child from being visited by
The angel of death.
the negativity of whatever could come through.
Yeah, the level of superstition in Philippines is pretty extreme, to be quite honest with you. There's not only is there the fear of ghosts and spirits, but the one thing that they don't want is the recently deceased to come back to visit because they're still angry with issues during life. So
Unresolved stuff.
So unresolved stuff. It's very important to them to try and keep the peace. That's why they have the viewings, and what they do, the viewings that are actually in the lounge room where this couch would be, would be the actual body or in a coffin. And in extreme cases, they actually dress them up in their full regalia, seated in a chair, tied with ropes, and have a rope around to hold the chin up.
Wow.
So the chin wouldn't drop open.
Wow.
And they would sit there
Yeah.
in state for upwards of 5 days
Wow.
in 30 plus degree heat
Wow.
with no refrigeration.
Jeez.
So it's
That
pretty
would-
intense.
It would
is.
be. It would be
And
very
we couldn't
intense.
do that here.
No way could you do that here. Goodness.
I'm actually quite glad
can't
we
do that
don't do it here because if I got up in the middle of the night
As-
and saw my uncle in the corner
Yes.
smiling at me, I would go in the middle of the night. It is an intense tradition and something that I don't think we will be continuing.
I won't be doing that.
I mean,
I wouldn't do it.
we could actually do a 3D printed image
You
of
could do
myself.
it.
Yeah.
You know what? You could do that. That is actually a very interesting concept. We could take a photo, 3D image. That would be a great idea, wouldn't it?
And
It's
it
just
would
getting-
make, given my bulk, it would make a great paperweight.
We could shrink it down.
Or if you could do the bottom shaped like a teardrop, you can actually use me as a, what do you call that?
See, that's how we talk about it.
Yeah, I love it.
There's one thing a lot of people do ask me. They say they're actually quite not concerned, but they wonder why I'm not down in the dumps with where I am with health and stuff like that. Of course, you have your days, your good
down.
days and your bad days, and that's just how it is. But this. With the time you've got left, you've got so much more to do, and
You know, and that's why I consider myself extremely lucky because when you deal with death every day, you realise that everything else in your life is inconsequential, really.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you're alive, you're breathing, you've got family, you're loved.
I mean, I spend a lot of my time with
Dialysis
people that
patients,
that are on the cusp of death every 3 times a week.
So you're on dialysis. So you've got kidney issues, or
Yes, unfortunately, basically my kidneys are dead at this point in time. I've also got heart issues.
right?
I'm a type 2 diabetic.
Diabetic.
Look, the people. I always look at the people around me because I go to a dialysis, and there are people that are virtually unconscious the whole time. You know, like and they struggle just to say hello, and they're wheelchaired in, wheelchaired out. I'm not there.
Yeah.
So
And-
I'm grateful for what I have. And
Yeah.
Have you been on dialysis for long? Or?
Since 2019, January
Wow.
2019. Yeah.
Okay.
It was very, very quick. I was diagnosed, I went for a blood test, and 4 months later, I went from 70% kidney function to 10%.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was just, my kidneys
That's a
just died.
shock.
Yeah, even the doctors were wondering what had happened.
And you can stay in that, or you can start to look at how do we move forward and how do we
Yes.
make the most of the time that we've got
Yeah.
left, because we don't know. I mean, there's patients in his centre that have been on dialysis for 12 to 20 years. So, and it's also about, well, how do you make the most of what you've got
Exactly.
and the time that you've got. And we have had to have conversations about, well, what would happen if, and how do we make life count now.
And what sort of things have you done?
Humour, probably, how we
Good.
deal with it.
Humour's great.
Sarcasm and humour.
Humour's great.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, this is the thing, though. I would probably say to you, if something happened to him tomorrow, and I had to make decisions, I would probably still be doing a lot of best guessing.
Yeah.
I definitely would know what he didn't want.
Yeah.
But again, he would accept the fact that the funeral really isn't for him. It's for his mum and his dad and everyone left behind.
Do you think any friction would arise between you and Charlie's parents if you knew that he wanted something and they didn't want it? How would you deal with it?
There's friction, there probably would be.
Yeah,
But
these are the dynamics of the family. As
as they are
as
right
a-
now.
Croatian family, yeah, you just
to be quite honest, everyone will have their 2 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say straight away my mum would have a definite idea of what she wanted, which would be in opposition to probably yours.
Probably what you would want, but
But-
it depends.
but
I mean,
this
we'd
is-
work it out. That's
Well,
the
that's
thing.
why you
Yeah.
need to sort of like voice it
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
so that you know,
Yeah.
because you know what it is though too. And that's what we were touching on prepaid funerals earlier today. With a prepaid, you know exactly what.
Yeah.
That actually takes a lot of the guesswork out of the equation, and it stops a lot of those, because there's a lot of very heavy decisions that have to be made in a very short space of time,
Yes.
Yeah.
which are all financially based as well.
So Sheila, being in the position that the both of you are in at the moment, where do you place the most importance? Is it enjoying them whilst?
Oh, it has to be enjoying the family and enjoying them while they're alive.
Right.
I mean, even from like such a young age, we both know that people will pass away, and it's too late when they've passed away to tell them everything that you wanted to tell them and to be there for them. So you look after people while they're alive.
It's a terrible thing to say, but I think being sick has brought us much closer than ever before.
Yeah.
I mean, prior to me getting sick, both of our lives revolved around our careers,
Yeah, job.
and we were good at what we did, and you do get lost, and I can see how relationships break down because of that thing.
Yeah.
But then I got sick, and there was almost no hesitation from her. She just picked up and said, "Okay, we'll just do what we need to do."
Yeah.
You're just both so relaxed with one another. You two are really amazing. I think the energy between you two is just, you've been faced with a situation and you've just gone, you know what, we can either fall apart,
You really have no choice.
Yeah.
or do we take it by the horns and run with it?
Yeah.
And you've done
you
it.
have no choice. You've got no, but it's important. And one thing I've really found out is this is what's important.
Oh yeah.
Like actually the whole external family thing and your friends and all that kind of stuff goes by the wayside, because this is if this is strong, the rest of it's easy sailing. You know? There was one thing that it's important to me,
okay,
not
go on.
important to a lot of people.
Go on.
But being a considerate person, I don't want to cross any cultural boundaries out there. But I'm a big fan of Braveheart, and I was wondering if I could be buried in a kilt. But because I like German automotive as well, I'd like to have a German Lederhosen.
You do whatever you want.
Lederhosen, a kilt.
Just write them
And
down. You
maybe
have to
a couple
supply
of-
them though. You have to supply them.
And a couple of coconuts for our own cultural...
Yeah, of course. We can do whatever you want.
Really?
Whatever you want.
I think that would be
You just
fantastic. We have just planned what I'm wearing for the funeral.
Okay. But with what you do, it is one of the... I mean, obviously, he's got his own wish list now of what he wants to be dressed as, and his mum's going to be very disappointed. But, like, what...
You got it on recording.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you do that sort of
Yeah,
stuff? Or you
100%.
actually... Is that what you do? So if someone wants to be buried in a specific T-shirt or something, you know...
My directive to my staff is if a family want a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory themed funeral with little orange oompa or green oompa loompas with orange hair to carry that coffin, and the coffin covered in hundreds and thousands, and it looks like 100,000 cookie, that's for us to source and make happen for that family. Now, of course, you can't do it within a time frame. You have to have a dedicated time frame, but we can do whatever the family want. But they've got to, of course, allow the budget.
Yes.
and the time.
Yep.
You know, but we can do whatever people want. Like my funeral, God, I've got police escort, I'm going to have belly dancers, I'm going to, you name it, it's going to be a palaver.
Well, I could save on the belly dances by having an open collar. Just shake it, and my belly will be doing the dancing.
But in the kilt though, but you're going to be the full covered thing here, that's the issue.
That could be an issue.
That could be an issue. But maybe we can part it open, the belly can be there. You know, they're all things that we can do.
We could do the Paris Hilton thing.
You must be happy then.
Right,
There must be also celebrations of life and
You know
colour.
what?
And
We actually did a funeral a few months ago, and it was out at Forest Lawn at Olympic. And this family, the mother, she was just so loved, but the kids actually got up. She loved dancing, and in the eulogies they were saying, "Mum always danced. We'll be walking home we'll come in the kitchen from school. She'll have the music, and she'll just grab us and start waltzing with us through the house."
Yeah.
When they went up to place the flowers, all 4 kids started waltzing with one another, and I actually got teary.
Yeah.
And I thought, and then the grandkids got up, and the whole family were at the front of that chapel on the live stream, just dancing like she did.
Yeah.
And then everyone gave a round of applause, and it was the most beautiful, most touching thing
Yeah.
that I'd seen in a long time. And I actually said to the daughter, to Wendy, I said, you know, I need to thank you because this is one of the best funerals I've ever been to.
Cool.
Thank you both for joining me today. And you know what, I would interesting to see how things go for you both. But, you know, it's been amazing, and thank you for making me laugh.
Well, I'm going forward driving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Deep in the bush. So the funeral might be sooner than later.
You'll be right, mate. You'll be right. Enjoy your forward driving.
At least I won't starve. Because I
you're
will
a
last
legend.
forever.
You know what? You're a legend. Thank you so much, guys. I
will
really
wax
enjoyed
over
that.
before I
Yes,
actually...
you will.
Before
my
I become a skeleton in the car.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. All right.
Thanks, man.
You know, life's what you make it, and you've got 2 people here who I've really enjoyed sitting with, who, you know, in my opinion, just made my day. So, you know, we're pretty blessed with what we've got. So enjoy what you have, and always think that tomorrow's a new day.